Hey, what's up everybody? It's Coach Matt, EliteThrowsCoaching.com. Welcome back to the channel. So today's video, I'm gonna be talking to you about one of the biggest problems, one of the biggest issues that I see with throwers when they come and start working with me, whether that's at, say, an overnight summer camp, which we are gonna have a few this summer, whether that is at a weekend clinic, if I travel out to a school and work with a team, or whether it's just here when a new athlete starts to work with me, either during the week or on the weekends. I always take a look and say, what does their power leg look like and what is their power foot doing? Because most of the time when athletes get into their power position, they're only throwing off of one foot. So what starts to happen? Well, athletes, you'll see, they've got the shot up against their neck, whether it's a glide shot putter, a rotational shot putter, or whether it's someone doing discus. They get to their power position, and what you'll see is that they're kind of in that power position. They're nowhere near close to releasing that shot off their fingertips or releasing that discus, and they've already got their power foot up in the air. So the power foot is kind of hovering in the air, and the athlete still hasn't kind of gotten to that point where they're looking to release the shot. So they're either up on like their very, very tiptoes and not able to produce any power, or they've got that entire power leg up off the ground. And what you see a lot of times is all the issues, all the problems that creates. Biggest problem is that they're not able to create any more force or any more power with that power leg. So I always tell my athletes, it's like if you jump out of an airplane and you're falling down out of that airplane, you're falling toward the ground, and as you're falling toward the ground, you try to jump. It's not possible, right? You can't jump in the air because you don't have your feet against anything. You're not able to push off of the ground to create the force possible to lift your body off the ground. You can't put force into the ground if you're not touching the ground. So when athletes are like this and they've got that one foot up off the ground and they can't do anything with it, you can't push anymore with this foot, it's off the ground. And kind of easy to explain, but if I don't have my right foot on the ground, where's all my weight? It's already on my left. Obviously, if I can pick that right foot off the ground, it's because all my weight has already shifted onto my left foot. We're telling our athletes, hey, we've got to keep our weight back. We have to keep our weight on that power leg. We have to keep our weight on that power foot. Keep your hip stacked on top of the foot. Take your ankle, pull it under the hip. Get those joints stacked up. Keep your weight back. You should be able to pick up your blocking foot. As a right-handed thrower, I should be able to pick up my left foot. So if I can pick up my left foot, where's all my weight? It's on the right. But if you have all your athletes are getting in the circle and they're looking like this, they've got their right foot off the ground and they're nowhere near close to releasing that shot, you've got a big problem, and it's something that you have to fix right away. All right, so let's take a look at this from a different angle. So when I see athletes in this position, I have started calling it the cartwheel position because it kind of looks like if you had an athlete that was trying to do a cartwheel. I cannot do a cartwheel. When they're trying to do a cartwheel, there's a point where they're kind of looking at the ground and one foot's off the ground, one foot's in the air, and it looks like they're gonna do a cartwheel. Well, it looks exactly the same when they're in their power position and all of their weight has shifted, or they've opened up way too much, or they've stood up way too tall. Now they're able to pick their power foot up off the ground because all their weight has shifted, and it looks like they're gonna do a cartwheel. So it looks like this. They get into that power position, they touch down with their power foot first, blocking foot comes second, and they look like this. They look like they're about to do that cartwheel, and they pick their right foot up off the ground, and they go to throw, and there's no power. There's nothing behind it. A lot of times you see athletes, they go up to their coaches and they're like, all right, coach, I don't feel like I've got any power behind it. And the coaches go, we got to use more legs. Yeah, that's true. You've got to use more legs, but think of that idea of trying to jump in the air as you're falling out of an airplane. You can't use your legs if your leg is off the ground. What is that? What am I doing here? Nothing. I can't use my leg. Here, now I can use my leg. Now I can push through the ground and push my body up. But if that foot's already off the ground, what are you doing? you can't push with that foot. It's off the ground. So if you want to use more legs, if you want to avoid the right sector files, if you want to create more force, if you want to get your body in a better position, if you want the ball to go farther, if you want the discus to go farther, you've got to keep your foot on the ground. And that's where you have to start to focus on what that power leg is actually doing when you get into the power position. So whether it's rotational shot, glide shot, or discus, it's all a very common problem. So as a lefty, just to show you from the front, what'll start to happen, again, instead of being in a good position, they've already shifted, they're picking up that left foot, and then they try to kind of turn and throw with that power leg off the ground. So first of all, let's show you how I explain it to my athletes. That way you can explain it to your athletes, or you can use this to help yourself. And then how we train this, how we teach the athletes and turn this into a good habit. Welcome to my office. Kind of weird, but if you take a look at the door of my office, what you see is that there are 3 hinges. Hinge number 1 at the top, hinge number 2 in the middle, and hinge number 3 all the way down at the bottom. Now, if you can imagine, some of your doors have 2 hinges, like a bathroom door, but if you go to your front door, if you go to, your back door or whatever, if you go to the fire escape, the fire door at your school, you're gonna see 3 good, solid hinges. 3 points where that door starts to move and starts to pivot. Now, if I were to go in and close this door, check it out. Close the door. See that? Close the door. What starts to happen? So when you close the door, all 3 of those hinges close at the same time. The bottom hinge doesn't close first, followed by the middle hinge, followed by the top hinge. They all close at the same time. The entire door shuts at the same time. All 3 hinges move and all 3 hinges close at the same exact time. All right, so what does that have to do with shot put and what does it have to do with discus? Well, I've done plenty of videos on power position before, but the way that I explain power position, is sort of different from what a lot of the old time coaches used to say. Like when I was in high school, 28 whatever years ago, 30 years ago almost, people would talk about toe, knee, hip. We've all, I think, heard that before, at least some of the more experienced coaches, where your athletes get in the circle and they talk about, this power leg and how you got to turn the toe, then the knee, and then the hip. Toe, knee, hip. Get it? So toe, knee, hip. And this many years ago, if you go back 11, 12 years ago in this YouTube channel, I would talk about toe, knee, hip. Well, what I've learned over the years, watching a lot of these top throwers, is that in just sort of knowing anatomy and biomechanics and all that stuff, you can't just turn your ankle and then turn the knee and then turn the hip. That's not how things work. These 3 joints, the 3 hinges of this power leg, just like the hinges on that door, they all have to turn at the same time. So you can't do the bottom hinge first, then the middle hinge second, then the top hinge third. When you get in this power position, when you ground that blocking foot, and you open up that blocking arm and you start to slap the giant, throw that arm in the air, it's time for you to close this door. It's time for you to close that power leg. So you want to turn everything together. You're turning everything. All 3 hinges close. Slam that door shut, close at the same time. And this is how I explain it to my local athletes. This is how I've explained it to coaches. This is how I explain it at track camps. It's not the ankle, the knee, the hip, toe, knee, hip. It's everything closes at the same time. And as you notice what happens, now I'm kind of using that right knee, that power knee, almost like an aiming device, where I'm aiming that knee down the middle, aim down the middle, and then I can actually stand up and push and extend and produce force and power and put that into the throw. I'm not getting here and lifting the foot off the ground and starting to cartwheel out the front. I'm turning, I'm closing that power leg, closing that door, shutting that power leg, and then I'm able to stand up and deliver power into that throw. All right, now I can already hear the comments from everybody saying, well, what about switching your feet? You know, what about switching your feet? My coach tells us to switch our feet. My coach tells us to reverse and jump and throw and all this other stuff. Take a look at some of the best throwers in slow motion. They do not jump and throw. What they are doing is that when they get into that power position, that blocking foot touches down, they start to slam that blocking foot down. Block, ground that blocking foot, they ground, they open, then they start to turn that right foot, push, then they leave the ground and switch their feet or reverse. They're not jumping and throwing. They're not jumping in the air, lifting the foot in the air, and then trying to throw. That's not how it works. If you watch any of them, if you watch this right foot right here, they turn that right foot and they lift. Turn that right knee, they drive, they close that door, turn, lift. They don't jump and throw. They push through the ground, and if you watch it, slow motion, frame by frame, a lot of throwers, you can see slow motion video on their social media, the shot, the discus is just about to leave their fingertips when their foot comes off the ground. Their foot comes off the ground, and in the next frame, boom, it's flicking off their fingertips. It's not a jump and throw. So when you switch your feet, when you reverse, it's not jump in the air and throw as far as possible. It's close that power leg, push just as it's coming off the fingertips, boom. That's when they switch their feet. Here's another way to think of it. Anybody out there? I mean, a lot of throwers love football. They play football. So imagine you're in the NFL. You're a quarterback. You got, down by one touchdown. You got a couple yards to go before that first down. You need to make this play. You need to make this play so you can continue the drive, score that winning touchdown. So you get the ball, you're going back, it's a blitz. Everyone's coming to tackle you. You're scrambling in the backfield, you're running away from a defender. Coming across the field on the other side is your tight end, so you do this kind of crazy jump and throw and try to dump it off to your tight end. Okay, we've seen that all the time. How much power is behind that throw? When the quarterback just sort of has to kind of jump and dump it off there. Is there any power in that throw? No. Now compare that to, it's the last play of the game. You got 50-yard Hail Mary. You've got to get it in the end zone. Is the quarterback going to jump in the air and throw? No, of course not. He's going to set his feet, gets the ball, comes back, sets his feet, does a little crow hop, boom, both feet on the ground. Look at the foot, look at the knee, all the way down, boom, big launching 50-yard plus throw into the end zone to try to get that Hail Mary. You're not going to jump and throw. You're not going to pick one foot off the air and try to throw a football 50 yards. You're going to keep your feet on the ground. You're going to turn this back foot, turn that back knee, turn the hip all together, and then boom, try to launch that thing 50 plus yards to get that winning touchdown. So if some of the best arms in the NFL, some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL know to keep their feet on the ground, do you really want your athletes picking their foot up off the ground? You really want them jumping and throwing? You really want them to do that? No, they've got to keep their feet on the ground just until that shot or discus is about to leave their fingertips. All right, so enough talk, right? Where do I teach this? How do I break this habit? What are some drills that I use? I simply break down that standing throw position, that power position, and have them work on keeping their weight on that back foot. And there's a lot of different tricks, a lot of different tips that I'll use, and I'll go through a few of them really quick for you right now. So as you guys see, I'll put a link up in the corner to sort of the short season shot put coaching video that I did last year, and it goes through the power position. So you're in the power position, shot up against the neck, okay, good power position, all of your weight is back on that power leg, on that power foot. First thing we're going to do, we're going to ground that blocking foot. So we ground, and then we slap, and then we close. Boom. At this point, I'll have them do what's called the reset drill. I'll have them reset back, and I'll do it again. Ground, slap, close, reset. Ground, slap, close, reset, ground, slap, close, reset. I'll have them check their feet. Okay, reset their feet a little bit, get in a good position. A couple more times. Ground, slap, close, reset. Ground, slap, close, reset. And then I have them throw. Ground, slap, close, push and flick. So again, that wasn't the prettiest thing in the world because I just did like 12 in a row before I threw the thing. But that's not the point. Your athletes, if they're doing these drills, you're really working on closing, turning that foot. Okay, so here's another one. Let's get the shot. Here's another one. We have them check by picking up their blocking foot. Okay, so here's how we do it. Get in that power position, shot up against the neck. We're here, all of a sudden, check. Is the weight back? Yep, I can pick up my blocking foot. Okay, then we're gonna ground. And then I'm gonna check. Can pick up the blocking foot. Then we're gonna slap. I'm gonna pick up the blocking foot. Whoop. We're gonna close all the way down the middle, and then we're gonna pick up that blocking foot. Oh, it's a little off balance. Okay, we're gonna start over. It's gonna be a little ugly at first. Hey, try it again. Make sure, keep all your weight back on that power leg. Keep everything stacked up on that power leg. Okay, well, let's try it again. Here, we're gonna ground that blocking foot. Ground, and we're gonna pick it up to check. Boom, good. Then we're gonna slap, pick up that blocking foot, good. Close all the way down the middle, all the way down the middle, all the way down the middle. Pick up that blocking foot, not bad. And then pull, push. Foot stays on the ground, pull, push. Again, that's the most important part. Foot stays on the ground, pull, push. That's gonna get them out of that habit. Now, are they gonna get it in doing 2 drills? No, of course not. Are they gonna get it in 2 days? Probably not. Are they gonna get it in 2 weeks? No. But if you focus on this, you got a 3-month or a 4-month season, is this gonna be a really good habit that they're gonna be able to turn, close that blocking, close that power leg, close, keep the foot on the ground, and then push and flick? Absolutely. So you have to keep on them. You have to keep watch. Make sure whenever they're doing a drill, whenever they're doing mirror turns, half turns, stop glides, South Africans, always make sure they are closing that power leg and then pushing and not picking their foot up off the ground until they feel like that shot or discus is about to come off their fingertips. All right, everybody, so that is gonna do it for me today. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit. It's the biggest problem, the biggest correction that I always see with all of my athletes when they first start working with me, and it takes a little bit of time to fix. It's not gonna be one of these instant fix kind of, oh, you came and saw me for an hour and I fixed that problem, it's never gonna happen again. It's a really bad habit with a lot of throwers that they pick that power foot up off the ground before they're even close to releasing the shot or discus. Again, it's why we see so many right sector fouls. It's because the athletes can't get their hips all the way around because their foot comes off the ground. Or they're so shifted so heavily onto that blocking side that what starts to happen, their right foot comes off the ground. They're trying to use their legs, but their foot's not connected. How are you going to use any legs and kind of deliver force into the ground if your foot's not on the ground? So make sure there's going to be videos like this every single week that are going to be coming out on this channel, all the way through track season, all the way through the end of June. So make sure, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. And make sure to give this video a like. Also, if there are any questions, this video today popped up because of a question that was left in the comment section below one of our older videos. So if you have any questions, I read every single comment and I try to reply when necessary. So leave a comment down below. Let me know what questions you want answered for your throw and for your technique, and I'll get to them in a future video.